everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I am your host, Adam Snow, and I am joined today by my brother-in-law, Kyle Sutherland. Kyle, how's it going today in Lions land over there?
It's going great. I'm really excited about this season coming up, and hopefully the Lions do great this year.
Hopefully, and you sound not so excited to be on this podcast, which was your idea.
Oh, it is what it is.
On this week's show, we're going to talk about the Lions' offseason as well as look ahead at the preseason and what we can expect from our 2023 Detroit Lions. But first, we want to thank you for checking out our podcast. You can find our show on the World of Football podcast feed, which is available on a multitude of platforms, including Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. You can also find our podcast on the World of Football YouTube channel. Simply search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or go to youtube.com/@theworldoffootball Kalamazoo. If you could go over there, subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Like the World of Football over on Facebook at facebook.com/TWOF Kalamazoo, and follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at TWOF Kalamazoo. With all those out of the way, make sure you can use our nifty timestamps in the description of this podcast if you want to jump around to the different topics we'll be discussing today. So, Kyle, let's begin. And what are some of your thoughts on the offseason going into this upcoming year?
Well, I thought they did pretty good last season.
Oh yeah,
they went 8-2
exceeded expectations.
Last 10 games. They beat the Packers at Lambeau in the last game and knocked them out of the playoffs.
Nationally televised. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a great. I'm glad I watched it. But we barely missed the playoffs. And
darn referees out there in Seattle.
Yep. But some of those games that versus like the Patriots and the Carolina Panthers, I hope we don't see that again this year because that was just terrible play.
Hopefully not. I go back to even the third game last year against Minnesota where we had terrible clock management. You know, we wrapped that one up. There's another win right there, and I believe that would give us 6-0 in the division. That was our only divisional loss last year.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say? I mean, they did pretty good in the division, so I'm not too worried about that this year. But
right on. And what going into this off season though? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it seemed like when Jerry Jacobs came back from injury, like that's when they started the push because they needed another defensive back, and when he came back, we started to roll there. So, and the offensives still stayed the same. They were still scoring points and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything turned around with the Hawkinson trade, and then, whatever reason, everything else from there just kind of took off. But, so, let's, I had a question, and I forgot about it. Going into the offseason, what were some of the big things you thought the Lions needed to address?
Defensive backs, really. Even though that Jerry Jacob came back, they still needed help. And Tracy Walker, he was injured. We knew he was going to come back, which sounds like he's in a good spot right now. Maybe possibly the running backs. We didn't know about Swift, what was going on with him, because he was always seemed like he was just hurt a lot past couple seasons. The other one that went to the Saints, what was
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, if he was going to get a contract extension or get a big payday for him, if he was going to come back or not. Which I was hoping he'd come back because he was a great addition to this team.
We all were hoping.
And then wide receivers, if Shark was going to come back or not, which he didn't. But sounds like we
Yeah,
got a couple good replacements for him.
yeah. And I guess
So yeah,
that'll take us into the Lions draft class going into this year. I know a lot of people going in. There was rumors of us going with a quarterback. There was rumors about who we'd go. Would we take Jalen Carter? Would we move up in the draft? Would we move down in the draft? And I think the Lions, they were the talk of the NFL for a minute because they did something that was a supposed sin, which ended up looking like one of the smartest decisions in the league, which was trading back and still getting one of the best running backs in the draft class in Jahmyr Gibbs at number 12. I wasn't 100% sure what the plan was when you draft a running back that high, but then we saw the Swift trade, and obviously we had signed Montgomery in the offseason. We'll talk about the free agents in a second, but I mean, to start off with that, what were your thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs being our first of 2 first-round picks?
well, first of all, I was a big fan of them getting a quarterback, Richardson
Oh,
from
were
them,
you? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
but yeah, I didn't really hear of Jahmyr Gibbs, so I didn't know who he was. But then, yeah, he got drafted number 12. I started looking at his college game tape, and like I think we got someone special. I don't think he's gonna be more like a Debo Samuel, more of a pass catcher out of the back, maybe in the slot, out wide. And I think Montgomery is probably going to be the workhorse in the backfield. So
Yeah.
personally, I love the pick. Now that you look at it, you do a little bit of research on it, and hopefully it does pay out.
Yeah. And as far as draft classes go, I thought this was, again, Brad Holmes nailing his draft class. Like I said, as a much of a head scratcher as it was taking Jahmyr Gibbs in that first round, everything else I feel like seemed like something he would do. And obviously we took Jack Campbell out of Iowa at number 18 in the first round. That dude is unbelievably talented. I'm very curious to see him in that Aaron. Oh crap! What's our defensive coordinator's last name? Aaron Glenn.
Glenn.
His defense. Yeah, Aaron Glenn's defense. Then they went off in the second round. They took Sam Laporta, the tight end, and then they took Brian Branch, a defensive back. So a very solid second round draft too. What are your thoughts on that?
Jack Campbell. What I mean, he loves football. That's if that's all he just said in his press conferences. I love football. I mean, everyone would be okay with it. I mean, he looks like a freaking beast out there, and
Apparently having a good
I think
training
he's
camp
gonna
too.
really. Oh yeah, he's gonna. I think he's gonna be great with Alex Anzalone out there beside him. So, I mean, we'll see, but I think he's gonna be a big time contributor in that middle of the field there. And Sam Laporta,
Yeah.
he's just I think he's going to be a little better than Hawkinson. Maybe not at the beginning of this year, but once he starts getting comfortable and everything, I think he'll be another playmaker added to help out Goff in the offense there.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Goff's
Brian
been.
Branch, I think.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say Goff
Go
has
ahead.
been going to Laporta a lot in training camp. It seems like him and Laporta got a good connection there between him and Amon-Ra. I think that's going to be a lethal combination.
Oh yeah, Amon Ra. Now you got Laporta. Now you got Gibbs, Montgomery to help out, and yeah, it'll be interesting because defenses won't know like what's gonna happen even if you get Gibbs and Montgomery on the field together. Now they got to look at that. Like I don't, I I'm just excited. Like this is gonna be great.
And then in the third round, we took at number 68 overall quarterback Hendon Hooker. We were all wondering where and if they would take a quarterback, and that's where Hendon Hooker falls. You thought the Lions were going to take a quarterback early in the draft. What are your thoughts on Hooker going to the Lions?
I mean, he's a little older, but the way he talks in his interviews, the way he just his presence about him, like obviously he's not going to start this year, but a couple years down the line, if they do decide to move away from golf, I think Hooker's probably going to be in a good spot by then to start and be a team player. So, I mean, I got nothing bad to say about him.
Oh yeah, nothing against him personally. I think let his knee heal up, let him get some reps behind Goff. Kind of see how things are done. I personally, when Goff came to Detroit, I wasn't sold on Goff 100%. But last year he proved it. He's the dude. I want this guy in Detroit for a few more years. So I'm hoping Hooker is more of a stable, healthy backup. I don't know if he'll be a starter down the line. Who knows? Maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's not. But at a third-round pick, I don't think it's that big of a gamble to take a guy like that who could be really talented as a backup, which you need in this league if Goff goes down. But then real quick, we also drafted a defensive tackle, Broderick Martin, in the third round as well at the 96th overall pick. And then we took Colby Sorsdale with pick 152 in the fifth round to round out the big notable stuff from the draft class. Any other big takeaways from Brad Holmes' 2023 draft class and how he's been drafting overall the last few years?
I mean, I think he's done a good job, especially like people like Broderick Martin. I mean, you could tell during their inside the den or whatever it's called.
Oh, act like you don't know the name. We all know you watch obsessively and you post on Twitter, where the heck is Inside the Den? You're that guy and we know it.
Yeah. But people like Broderick Martin
you are
really anxious about. Oh, yeah. They were calling it like 70, trying to get him or moving up. But, yeah, I think Broderick Martin's going to be a big playmaker come like middle of the season when he gets comfortable. But, I mean, I think he's done a great job overall. So, yeah, I can't complain there either.
I mean,
and it's going to be interesting. Also with...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, with Brian Branch, the way he's been going off in training camp.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be interesting how he does, too. Because it sounds like he's going to do great in the nickel spot if they move Gardner Johnson up to safety for a couple plays.
Yeah, I mean, if Holmes has done one thing right, it is getting a lot of great value and great dudes lower in the draft. Rodrigo last year, and this year I feel like we're going to have a couple more guys coming up that are going to impress a lot of people that went under the radar. So very excited about that. I do want to move on to the free agent class. As you mentioned, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was probably our biggest free agent pickup this offseason. He did have that scare a couple weeks back at the start of training camp, but I'm very excited to see this dude in action in a Lions uniform. He's been making plays at training camp. What were your thoughts when we got Gardner-Johnson?
I was really excited. Like, you get a big-time player like that to come over to the Lions. Like, what is that going to say about maybe next year or the year after, the way Holmes, Campbell, Sheila Ford is building this kind of culture for them? Like, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And I was freaking out when I heard about that, his little scare in the training camp when he got hurt. Like, I ran over to you and I was like, oh, man, did you hear Gardner Johnson got hurt?
Oh, yeah, you were about to cry.
Luckily, it isn't anything. No, yeah, right. But anyways, luckily it's nothing too bad. He's back at practice. Like, he's got a little fire to him. And that's one thing people are saying. Like, I think this team needed that last time they really had that was with Sue on the team way back
Mm,
when, and it's kind of bringing out the best of everyone on that defense now. So we'll see.
yeah. Yeah, and speaking of the defense, I mean, some other guys, key notable dudes we signed this offseason. Cameron Sutton from the Steelers, we signed at cornerback. Emmanuel Mosley, we signed from San Francisco at corner. We were able to re-sign Isaiah Buggs, and Alex Anzalone re-signed with a 3-year deal. So the Lions made a big push this offseason to shore up that defense, and I'm hoping it pays off because that is still the one aspect of this team I am still nervous about. While we're starting to put great playmakers all over the field there, still a little nervous about the defense.
Oh yeah, even that. But people like John Kaminsky, he re-signed with the Lions. Like he
Mm.
wanted to come back.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you don't
yeah, that
really
was a
hear
big
that a
story.
lot.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'll be it'll be awesome. Cam Sutton on the field sounds like he's a really smart player. He's not very vocal, but he's gonna let everyone know what their jobs are and where they gotta be and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see like Sutton and all these guys play against other teams because right now the highlights I'm seeing is Sutton getting burned during training camp against Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra making some great catches against him. So I'm hoping that gets cleaned up and hopefully he's better than some of those highlights we've been getting from the Lions training camp.
Yeah, I think that was probably a one-on-one. I don't think that's gonna
Probably.
happen a lot. So, I mean,
God, I hope not.
players are gonna get away with. Yeah, players are gonna get away
Yeah,
with a few catches here and there. It's part of the game. What can you do?
right.
So
But then yeah,
hopefully
we
they
we
just
we talked.
move on and
Oh, go ahead.
go
Sorry, man.
ahead.
This is the tough part about doing this over the internet is talking over each other. I'm trying not to. I'm letting you trying to let you go, but every time I think you stop, you keep going. So I apologize for talking over you.
That's what happens when you're excited about the Lions.
Yeah, that too. Um, but sorry not to make you move on from your point, but I do also want to mention we've been talking about it before, but another free agent signing, David Montgomery. When we couldn't get Jamal Williams back, I thought Montgomery was a heck of an upgrade. It's been, he's one of those guys from Chicago I hated watching because he usually was super productive and was, pretty reliable with the football. So having him on our team, I think, was a big addition on the offensive side. And then a signing I was super excited about on the offense. The only other big offensive signing, really, was Marvin Jones, former wide receiver with the Lions for a few years, is now back in Detroit on a 1-year deal. I love Marvin Jones. I think he's a lot of fun. He's been great in the community of Detroit, and I'm just excited to see him back in the Honolulu blue and silver.
Yeah, especially with Montgomery. Like, hopefully he stays healthy. I know he's getting up there in age and stuff, but um, if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be a great addition to the backfield. Um, he's got that slipperiness to him, where if he gets to the second level, like, good luck trying to tackle him one on one
Yeah,
because you can't. And with Marvin Jones coming back, I think that's a great pickup too. And I hope he retires as a Lion. So maybe a couple more years or whatever we can get out of him. Maybe he
yeah,
decides to retire as a Lion
right.
because
Am
he
I?
did a lot of great stuff for the Lions in the past.
Mm. And he was doing some good stuff down there in Jacksonville too. So I'm very excited to have him back.
Oh yeah,
I'm just a little bummed he's wearing the number 0. I was really hoping the Lions would retire that number 0 in honor of George Plimpton, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. I'd rather have him back in the number 0 than not have him at all. So very excited about that. All right, I guess we can move on to the next topic we had, which is going to be the Lions hype going into 2023. If you've turned on any of those NFL Live, First Take, any of those, Good Morning Football, any of those shows going on, at some point they have had a segment about the hype around the Lions right now. And, with the news this past week about the Lions season tickets being sold out for the first time since the Lions came to Ford Field, and that was 21 years they've been at Ford Field. First time they have ever sold out season tickets. The hype is real in Detroit, and the hype in the league is getting picked up there for Detroit. But it's a question of, is the hype warranted, or do we need to settle down a little bit?
I mean, I think people need to be excited, but if something major happens, like, I think people would burn down the town. But if you get like a game at the first season versus the Kansas City Chiefs, like, that's awesome. And I hope they do good.
Oh yeah, of course.
If it doesn't turn into a good season, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think that's the hard part about having expectations. Like, as Lions fans, we've gone years going, don't have expectations going into the season because we're just going to get let down. But it does feel like for the first time that, all this stuff is kind of coming to fruition, that it feels like they can't let it, well, I can't say can't let us down, but it feels like they're in a spot that we've always thought they were in, but then they aren't there. Like, it's like false gold. But now, I think Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been walking the walk and talking the talk. And Sheila Ford Hamp has been, rock steady. She's come out a couple times in support of this regime. And I think we're seeing her a lot more, visibly than previous parts of the Ford family ownership have been. And the culture is clearly different. You hear players, like you talked about Kaminsky wanting to stay. It is feeling different, and that's what makes me nervous about buying into all this hype.
Oh, yeah. Which, if they get into the playoffs this year, I think that's a win for everyone. If they win a playoff, who knows what's going to happen.
Host a playoff game. I haven't seen it. I've never seen it.
Yep. But time will tell. Really,
time will tell. I'm having such a hard time. I want to buy into all this excitement and hype, but I'm trying to also keep myself reserved and not anticipating something bad to happen, but at least, not getting that far to where it's going to be like, well, I thought we were going to go 17-0, and here we are at 9-8 again, like, and be bummed about it. But I want to take it one game at a time, but I am excited. I'm just not trying to get on Twitter and talk about how the Lions are going to the Super Bowl this year. Or X, whatever it's called now.
I think this first game versus the Kansas City Chiefs, if it's a close game and we lose, I know there's something there. But if it's like a blowout and we lose, I might be a little worried. But if we get into like 6 games and we're like 1-5
again,
yeah, something's not working. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and of course, also to add to the hype, it's the Lions' 90th season. They released that great 90th anniversary logo. We got a brand new blue alternate helmet this year, which I am excited about. I'm cool with the helmet. I just hate the fact that it's paired with the gray onesie pajama uniforms that they wear because of some stupid NFL rule about what helmets can go with what jerseys. But I'm so there for those.
Yeah, that helmet looked pretty good. Like you were saying, it going with that gray uniforms wasn't really working. So hopefully next year they come out with a different uniform with that kind of helmet. Maybe we get to see that helmet a little more in a couple more games than maybe 1 or 2 this year. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because supposedly the Lions are supposed to do the new uniforms next season, so we'll see. about that when we get there. But all right, let's get to our fourth and final topic of this week, which is going to be our preseason prediction, which is sure to blow up in our faces. What are you expecting, Kyle, record-wise, and how's the Lions season going to go? What's your prediction?
Preseason, who cares? It's really preseason. We'll see how.
Well, I don't care. I don't give two
play.
squirts of urine about the preseason record. Remember that season we were the preseason champs, went 4-0, and went 0-16. I don't give two toots about the preseason record. I'm talking about regular season here before the season. What are your thoughts on what their record will be? What will they do this season, not this preseason?
No, well, that's what you wrote. So.
Oh, well, it was
record.
phrasing.
I think they're probably going to win either 10 or 11 games this year. I think they're going to win the North in our division. All that hype there that I've been hearing about the Green Bay, I don't think it's real. Chicago's probably got a couple more years to get to where we are. So, yeah, 10 or 11 games, I could see them winning.
All right, so you said it. You think they win the division, they host a playoff game. Do they win said playoff game?
It just depends on who we got, really. If we get like the Eagles or another big football in the NFC, which I don't think there is really anyone else besides the Eagles in the NFC that really kind of scares me. So, yeah, if we could get anyone else besides the Eagles in a playoff game, I think we probably have a good chance of winning.
Yeah, I'm thinking 10-7. Maybe a extra win this year. I think it'll still be tough. I think the division's a toss up because while I think Minnesota is going to take a step down, I do think Chicago might be slightly improved. While I'm not worried about them, Green Bay I'm not worried about at all. I think it could be a toss up. Detroit, maybe a Minnesota or a Chicago. To take the division. I do think the Lions get that playoff win. If we go to the playoffs this year, they're getting it. And I hate predicting that because that'll blow up my face. But that's what I think. I think this is the year they do it.
Oh yeah, like if biggest thing the defense has to work on is the running quarterbacks. If they can stop the running quarterbacks, I don't think there's anything we got to be worried about. So,
yeah, I mean, and the only other teams I'm worried about. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if we get to the playoffs, we win a game. Like I said, I think the fan base is gonna go nuts this year.
Oh yeah.
If we get into the Super Bowl.
Good luck. I don't know if the city of Detroit will remain standing if they make it to a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl.
Well, you never know. If it happens.
You thought those wildfires in Canada were bad. The fires in Detroit after a Lions Super Bowl victory could be worse.
Yeah, it'll be don't go to Detroit for a couple days.
It might be more than that. Because then, if they win the Super Bowl, then it's going to be a party in Detroit all the way through the draft, because the draft's in Detroit next year. So that'd be something else. But there's not a lot of teams. Yeah, but there's not a lot of teams ahead of Detroit right now that I'm nervous about. I respect the Eagles. I think the Eagles are still your NFC contender. I'm nervous, and I would be scared about the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're a plug a decent quarterback in there, and that whole team will be fine. So if Brock Purdy's back, they might be fine, and they still might contend for the NFC. I think Detroit might sit at the 3 spot. I think Detroit might be the third best team in the NFC. We'll see how Dallas. A lot of people are hyping up Dallas, but I'm not too worried about Dallas, as talented as they can get. When has that talent ever done anything for them in the last 30 years? And after that, maybe a Seattle could be sneaky good, and Minnesota depends on how they, that defense, because they one score games last year. You can't replicate that this year. The amount of games they won by one score.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Dallas. I think they're just overhyped. Dak Prescott's thrown to the defense a lot during training
Okay, hold on.
camps.
It's training camp. I want to squash that, man. I don't like talking about that because dudes
Okay.
will throw interceptions in training camp. Okay, like I hate hearing about. Oh, he sucks. He's throwing interceptions in training camp. Well, better to get it out now than when the season starts up. He's learning, like, or not learning, but he's
Uh,
working through things. It's a training camp. You got to get warmed up. Jeez, I hate it when people use that as a he's going to be bad because he's throwing interceptions in training camp. Don't be that
well, I
guy.
mean, it is Dak Prescott, so he's just overhyped.
Maybe a little.
Well,
I
yeah,
like
I'm
Dak.
not.
I like Dak though.
Yeah, and the 49ers. I mean, Brock Purdy, whatever the heck his name is. Um, he might get a little overhyped too because it's his second year. Um, I know that their first first round draft quarterback. I don't think he's gonna cut it with them.
Oh yeah, Trey
I,
Lance.
I don't know. Yeah, if they can't find a quarterback, then they're screwed. I don't know how
Yeah,
their defense is gonna be either. So
yeah. We'll definitely have to wait and find out. But yeah, Kyle, I think we have reached the end of the episode. We do want to tell everybody the next Lions game that you should be on the lookout for. Preseason week 1. That's this week against the New York Giants, Friday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Put it on your calendars, guys. Our first preseason action coming this week. We're very excited about it. I'm glad we could go down and just kind of give our thoughts on the season right before the games, because the plan is to talk about how we did after these games and see how far we can go into the season if this podcast doesn't turn into a train wreck.
yeah, I was shocked today. Someone said, "Oh, hey, what do you think about the game this Friday?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, preseason's games this Friday." Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
So it's coming. It's coming
yeah. Like
quick.
I don't. I'll watch the first few minutes of a preseason game, and then I'll usually tune out. I just don't care about the preseason. My only goal is for players to get the experience they need on the field and to come out healthy. That's all I need. That's all I want. I don't care if we win. I don't care if we lose. Just show me that you're playing hard, and let's just get to the opening game against the Chiefs as healthy as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to see how the rookies do this year in the preseason. How Jameson Williams is gonna do. Um, Apparently, he's gonna be playing a bunch in the preseason, kind of help him with the routes and everything, getting comfortable. But yeah, I'm really excited about the Chiefs versus the Lions coming up.
Oh yeah, so excited! I can't wait. That's the game that'll set the barometer for our season. Like if we can go in, and like you said earlier, if we can go in and at least put on a good show and hang with the Chiefs and lose, I'd be okay with it. If they go in and win, holy smokes, then we're got the whole league's going to be on notice. Like the hype
Oh
will get
yeah,
even crazier. So, but
yeah.
yeah, we got a few weeks
If they
for that.
win, yeah, if they win versus the Chiefs, like it's gonna be on National Sports Center, everywhere. Everyone's gonna be talking
Well,
about it.
Well, yeah, because it's the only game on that night, and Friday morning, that's what they're going to lead with on
Oh yeah, but
all the sports shows.
I mean, just for the week though, I think it'll be a
Well,
big talking point.
probably, yeah, I could see that happening. And what I could also see happening, guys, is the end of this episode. So, Kyle, why don't you take us out?
All right. We hope you enjoyed listening to our first show and come back for more. Be sure to visit the World of Football website, theworldoffootball.com, for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. If you want to get in touch with us, send an email to info@theworldoffootball.com. or you can connect with us by either liking the World of Football on Facebook or following the World of Football X's account, formerly known as Twitter. Those links will be in the episode description. Be sure to check out our flagship show, This Week in the World of Football, which drops new episodes every Tuesday. You can find that on the podcast feed on the YouTube channel. Again, links down in the description.
All right, not bad, Kyle. Not bad for your first reading on a podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's like training camp for you. It's training camp for us too, doing a podcast together. So we'll work through it. We got through the preseason to get through, and hopefully by the regular season, you got this down.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice those lines every day, at least 50 times a day for you.
Oh God, please, because you need it. All right, guys, that is it for us this week. Get out there and don your Honolulu blue and silver, and remember, go Lions.